Coming up this week on the OK Bloomer podcast.
So who writing this show is like obsessed with music?
It must be Don Rio. Maybe.
Must be Rio. He thinks he fancies himself somewhat of a scat man, I bet.
Scatman Rio. Skibidi bop bop
The
bop
scat
bop
man.
now.
All right, Billy bop 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 bop. Tony's a drug addict. Ska. Billy bop 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 hats. He doesn't even realize
What's going on,
pivoting
you
in his
cool
chair during
cats?
the writers' meeting.
Skibidi bop bop ow. Bop bop. Beat bop. Joey's girlfriend dies in a car accident. But a beep bop skibba bop. Bow.
Nick gave the Irish girl a venereal disease.
Skitty bop bop. Chlamydia.
She has to call all her sexual partners and let them know. Skitty bop 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 bop. It is that easy to write this show.
Skibidi bop bop. Buzz is dead.
Don't know about the future. Don't.
They don't care about the future, because they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than this on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know.
Going all right in 3, 2, 1. Happy. Do I say happy Saturday? No, I guess because people are gonna watch it at any other time. 3, 2, 1. It's the OK
Keep all that in.
Bloomer podcast. Oh, I'm already being interrupted. What's up, Sal? You take it away.
Oh, I just said keep all that in from when you the first time.
All right. I said happy Saturday, then I did it again, but I guess we'll just keep that all in because intros here are as random as episodes of Blossom. This is the OK Bloomer podcast. We are having some drinks together. We are watching old episodes of Blossom, and we are telling you our thoughts of old episodes of Blossom as we reminisce, as we wax nostalgic about the 90s. We're just having some fun. We're having some drinks, and I hope, Sal, it's better than it was last week. Worst episode of all time last week. Sal, Accardo, thoughts?
I would probably agree. Probably one of the worst ones in recent memory. And we weren't having a good time, so we apologize for that. I know I know we get some feedback that maybe we shouldn't exist in general, but to that I say go. We're having a great time here.
We are having some laughs. Sal, Accardo, Curtis Anderson. See, we're talking about 1992, but really we're reliving like 2010 when we worked together and we just hung out all the time and made fun of old TV shows. So we brought it back in podcast form, and I feel like as bad as the last episode was, I nailed that intro. This is a good episode of Blossom. My intro sucked. We're just going to keep going, Sal, because that's what we do, right? And the positive feedback that just keeps coming in shows us that the viewers appreciate the effort we put in. So we're just going to keep going as the professionals we are. Phenom! We're going to have some fun today. Where are we headed?
Let's do it.
These are some of my favorite descriptions. Here we go. Season 3, Episode 11, My Girl, directed by Bill Bixby, written by Shelley Carroll, first aired on November 16th, 1992, to 21.2 million viewers. Disney Plus says, Joey becomes worried after finding his birth certificate. IMDb says, Joey becomes worried after finding his birth certificate, semicolon, Blossom conducts an family video interview. TVDB says Blossom records her family on video. Joey becomes suspicious that he was switched at birth.
Yeah, I feel like with this one, they're finally going with the meta joke here. How like Joey is the black sheep of the family. Because it does come up, but
really well.
you take Blossom and you take Tony and you put them side by side and you're like, yeah, they could be siblings. But where does Joey fit into all of that? And that's kind of the whole crux of the episode.
I'm excited for this one. I'm trying to detox from all the bad vibes from last week and jump
Yeah.
right into this. All right, let's do the cold open. You guys ready? It's gonna be a wild ride today. Nick comes into the living room. He's got popcorn, and he's watching last night's game that he recorded while he was at practice. Tony walks in and ruins everything
What
as
game?
Tony does.
What team? What sport? We don't know.
The game, the big game. Tony says, or Nick says that he left his radio off and he didn't read the newspaper, which is, I don't know, it really dated it because I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
How would you even
Yeah.
get the results back in 1992 without the internet and social media? But I guess there was newspapers and radios. Lame. So he kept away from all that so he could get up this morning, watch the game he taped on his VCR because he doesn't know the outcome. And then Anthony goes, yeah, it's good until they blow it in overtime. And then Nick goes, why me? And Anthony turns around and goes, gotcha. And then we slam into the intro. That was the cold open, all 22 seconds of it.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
what
another
a-
chef's kiss on that one.
Well, first of all, Nick's a sports fan. I've never heard him once mention that he likes sports at
No.
all through the entire series.
He
But here we
only
are.
likes playing the piano and banging loose women. That's all he likes. He doesn't like sports.
Yeah, I mean, we're 3 seasons deep, and we know that those are his only 2 interests. And now
Yep.
he's all of a
He's not
sudden
a
very
complicated
invested
man.
on what's. I mean, he's not. And now all of a sudden he's very invested on what's going on in sports, in local sports. But yeah, that's the cold open, and it was
The spoilers
great
were still a
start, but
thing in
that's okay.
1992, I guess. I don't know if people were that,
apparently so.
So I think he may not have liked sports as much as he hated spoilers being white.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. So there's a little bit there.
All right, take us to the intro, Curtis.
Okay. It asks if I want to skip the intro.
What?
Let's get into this. Joey asks
I can
Nick.
hear myself delayed on this.
It's going to be great. It's going to be some editing
Okay.
magic, Sal. When you hear it, you're going to be like, whoa. And all the haters are going to be like, I take it back. This is the greatest. The way you did the gang vocals. The way
People in the comments, please timestamp this and write the comment, I do not,
Yeah.
to say it with us.
This guy, he knows what's up.
Brilliant.
We'll
Love
rally the troops. I do not is going to be the new Me Too movement. It'll be hashtag I do not. You don't skip the intros of life, people. That's the takeaway from the OK Bloomer podcast. Sometimes you
It's a
can
wise
skip the
word.
intros of life, but why? Why would you? Take the time, sing along.
Yeah. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it.
Did you just make that up?
I came up with that myself.
Yeah, it's
I came
really
up
good.
with that all on my own. Yeah.
Okay. Joey asks Nick, so we're right into it, right? We're in the we're in the kitchen making breakfast, and Joey is already like all the blood has left his head for today. He's walking around.
Yeah, he's asking if he can go to the mud wrestling club called Jiggles.
Yeah.
And,
And Nick on his
Nick's
high
like-
horse is like, justified. What? Treating women less than? Absolutely not, Joey.
hey, but really he's like, oh, if you go there, then you're gonna see me. So I don't think so.
He quickly stuffs his referee shirt into his backpack. Absolutely not, Joey. And we keep cutting to footage of Blossom's handheld camera, and I have like kind of shaky-eyed flashbacks from last week. I'm like, we're not doing another documentary. We're not doing another fake
I know.
documentary. But she's got this amazing old 1992 handheld camera with a f***ing trigger, and she's holding it wrong, but that doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Her
matter.
hands are wrong, but he's got,
Yeah.
instead of having your hand on the lens, she's got a trigger. And oh my God, I paused and I looked at that glorious piece of television history.
Right?
I don't know anyone
Yeah.
who had a trigger. I didn't even know that existed.
Well, there you go, man.
I don't know,
The
did
Russos
Don
got
Rio
it.
just take his trigger and glue that on? Because it looks amazing. And now I need one. I was on eBay all
Yeah.
night last night trying to find a trigger that would like attach to my DSLR. It doesn't exist, so not yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Blossom's got the camera in Nick's face, and she's like, "Just pretend like I'm not here," with no explanation as to what's going on. And yeah, I had the same thought. I was like, "Oh no, we're going for another one of these episodes here." But
I
anyways, we
also
carry
said,
on.
girl, the weight distribution would be all wrong. And oh my god, I'm a camera nerd.
Great observation, Curtis.
Thank you. Six is mugging for the camera, and that made me laugh.
Yeah, yeah. And then she tells Nick that Blossom is recording the family gynecology, and the audience stops to laugh, and Blossom corrects her and says, "No, genealogy." Oh, that makes more sense.
I laughed at that.
Yeah.
But they
And then
missed
she
such
said something about like she
such
says
an
something to
obvious
Nick like,
joke.
if you end up killing Joey, she can sell the footage to hard copy.
Take that
Which
hard
was
copy.
like one of those.
They buy
Yeah.
snuff films in the Don Rio world. So Nick tells Joey that, yeah, he can't go to mud wrestling. And Joey goes, but. And Nick goes, no buts. And they missed such an obvious joke there. Because, yeah, there will be no buts if you can't go to mud wrestling. Huh?
I didn't cross
No
my mind, but
buts,
well done.
folks. Am I saying these jokes wrong? Yeah, the genealogy, gynecology joke was pretty fun. Shelley Carroll wrote
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
She did. Did you look her up?
No, but isn't that the girl who wrote Frankenstein?
You did not. What's that?
She's not the girl that wrote Frankenstein? Who wrote
No,
Frankenstein,
that's,
Noah? Phenom. Gotta keep beeping your name out. Your identity
Mary
is a
Shelley?
secret.
Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley.
Who wrote
I
this
did
one?
have to look it up.
No, Shelley Carroll wrote 11 episodes of Care Bears, 65 episodes of Dennis the Menace, 2 episodes of Blossom, and then her career was over.
I can't wait for Hugs and Tugs to show up at the end of this episode.
Care Bear stare.
And Beastly?
Yeah.
How do you think Beastly? What a great character. Who would play
Right?
Beastly in a live action?
Oh God, I don't
Right?
know who'd play Shrieky. Shrieky and Beastly.
Shrieky and Beastly? God, those are some buried memories.
Right?
Shrieky
What a great
as
show.
an adult would be kind of hot. Like seeing her now grown up.
Yeah, she'd just be like a goth chick.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna
nothing wrong with that.
check out shrieky.com when I get home and see what I can find. I'll get back to you about that.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'll wait and use my work computer. Okay, so she wants to interview the family. We cut to Joey, and he goes, I hate Dad, because Dad won't let him go to mud wrestling. Then they go back to Blossom trying to figure out why Mom left and make a video about it. Didn't we do this episode already?
We did. And it's finally brought up in this season because I feel like it's been a full year since they've even mentioned that the mom is gone.
Yeah.
But
It was
yeah.
a John Green episode, wasn't it? When she made her
yeah.
her video to
Yeah.
her mom.
Yeah,
Why don't
fully.
you want me, man?
Yeah. So yeah, fat chance on them finding out why their mom left them.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
she doesn't talk to any of them anymore.
Have you seen the house? Have you watched this show? There's been 3 seasons of why Mom left already.
Right. So Six found
You
all
don't
their
need a
birth
video
certificates.
camera. You need a mirror, Russo family.
Well done. Six found all their birth certificates. Joey goes, "Whoa, my footprint is so much bigger now." And Joey's name on his birth certificate was BB Russo. And then it's a cut to Joey and Tony on the couch. And Tony's trying to convince Joey that the baby next to him in the room when he was born was named Joey, and it's possible there was a mix-up. And then this is where he addresses the meta. I feel like this was a meta joke at the time that like Joey doesn't look like either of them.
Mm-hmm.
Tony says that Blossom and himself have the classic Russo nose, and then he like turns his head and points to it, and the crowd ate that up. They loved it. They thought it was hilarious.
They're drawing attention to the misproportioned nose of some of the actors on the show.
Right.
They can laugh themselves.
Right.
That's good. Inside, he was crying.
Yeah, and then
though.
Totally.
They
And then he
laughed
points
way
out
too
how
hard.
Joey's the only athlete in the family, and he's a so he must not be related to them.
one funny moment though was that the BB on his birth certificate stood for baby boy because Nick and the horror mom were arguing about what to name the baby boy, and he wanted to name him Joey,
Yeah.
and she didn't want to because the other couple named their kid Joey, so they just named him baby boy. And then when Anthony walks into the living
Right.
room, he goes, "What's up, baby boy?" I don't know why that totally broke
Yeah,
me.
he actually called him that like throughout the episode, which I thought was
Mhm.
pretty good.
So
So yeah, then it cuts to the cameras in Nick's face, and then he's telling her that she was named Blossom because her mom said her bottom felt like a soft peach blossom. So she was like, my name could have been Peaches then, which comes up a little later on. But then Nick mentions he worked with a singer named Blossom Dearie, who I looked up and is a real American jazz singer.
how deep did you go?
Not very.
Okay, let me get caught up here.
Hit me.
Okay.
Hit me.
So I'm sorry, Phenom. I was trying to Google a slang term while you were doing the intros of the show. So I feel like I missed out because you're like, these are some of my favorite intros. But I was like trying to line up a last minute joke about the cold open where Anthony ruined the ending of the sports big game. And Nick was like, "Ha! Tonight I'm gonna." And I thought there was a slang of like when you give someone heroin against their will. I thought that was gonna be Nick's like. I thought there was like a term. It may have just been from like Oz. It was like a hot shot or something, you know. I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna be so funny tonight, Anthony, when you're asleep and Nick gives you a hot shot. That was a good bit. I couldn't pull it off in time. So not only did I not pull that joke off, I missed Phenom's incredible intros that I probably would have had fun with. But anyway, so I wrote, Anthony he's like shaking on the couch during that scene. Did you see that? He's like still withdrawing from Nick's hot shot. If I can connect the joke I didn't make. Joey tells Joey how easily it would have been to get the babies mixed up at the hospital. And I love Joey Lawrence's acting here because at first he's like, I'm not gonna let this bug me. He's just like smiling back, like, yeah, do your little bit. It's like water off my back. And I thought that was a really good starting point for this gag because he didn't like whoa right off the top and be like, oh my god, I'm not me. It's a slow burn, so I really like that. And then Tony goes, maybe it's nothing because you're certainly as smart as the rest of us, and that's how he leaves. And Joey's like, because he knows he's an idiot.
Yeah.
You did the part about as smooth as a peach blossom, and he used to work with a musician named Blossom Dearie. Okay, real person, born in 1924, died 2009, American jazz singer, pianist that played all over New York, and get this, she received the name Blossom because her neighbor delivered a peach blossom to the house the day she was born.
Oh,
They just like
okay.
copy and pasted that.
Wow.
She had a huge musical career and then got into voice acting, doing many voices for the cartoon Schoolhouse Rock.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the Constitution. How does a bill become a law? That was her, I guess. But apparently she was actually known for like her really weird, like falsetto, like little girl sounding voice.
Yeah.
This is where I
read that
wrote,
too.
remember to listen to a song.
Nice.
But, yeah. Blossom working on Schoolhouse
Cool.
Rock.
All right, that's cool.
Mm.
I mean, it's about time they addressed why she is called Blossom because it
Yeah.
is such an odd name.
So who writing this show is like obsessed with music? Because I feel like that's where the Nick character is. They're always like throwing these weird like New York music trivia, little digs and nods. So
Yeah, I'm not sure. It must be Don Rio. Maybe.
must be Rio. He thinks he
Yeah.
fancies himself somewhat of a scat man. I bet.
Totally.
Right.
Scatman Rio. Skibidi bop bop
The
bop
scat
bop
man.
now.
All right, Billy bop 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 bop. Tony's a drug addict. Ska. That was how he wrote the show. Billy bop 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 hats.
They're like, and this old man just stops scatting every time he enters room.
He doesn't even realize
What's
he's
going on,
pivoting
you
in his
cool
chair during
cats?
the writers' meeting. He's
Skibidi bop
"Skibidi
bop
bop
bow."
bop 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 bop. Joey likes to be dumb. And they're like turning him back around. Focus, Rio. We got 3 more seasons of this
Skibidi
shit.
bop 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 bop. Beat it bop. Joey's girlfriend dies in a car accident. But a beep bop skib bop. Bow.
Beat up, 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 up. Nick gave the Irish girl a venereal disease. Skid up, 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 up.
Skeety
Skid up,
bop
up,
bop.
up, up, up.
Chlamydia.
She has to call all her
Bow.
sexual partners and let them know. Skidly bop, 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 bop. It is that easy to write this show.
Sure. Yeah. When you're scatting.
We'll do a scat. We should go back and redo the election episode in scat. It would have been better.
Missed opportunity there, Curtis. Missed opportunity.
Okay, where are we here? Joey asks Nick about the other
yeah.
Joey, and Nick was like, "Oh, the baby with the big nose," and I thought that was funny because that's another yeah, they probably got switched. He's like, "Go ask Grandpa," because Grandpa chatted a lot with the other parents in the hospital that day. So we cut to Buzz. Buzz is being Buzz, and he says, "Oh yeah, I remember them. The dad played baseball, and the mother was dumb." What a description! I wish that's how someone would describe my wife and I after we had a child, right? Thanks, Buzz.
Yeah.
And he's like, "She was so dumb, they asked her if she wanted a cesarean, and she said sure, with no anchovies." And God damn it, die already, Buzz.
That was a...
Get in a car and drive straight into Blossom's boyfriend's car, and that'll be just like the season finale.
Right?
Just...
Skibidi bop bop, Buzz is dead.
Skilly bop bop
said,
bop, old man humor.
The dad's name was Theo Rossi, and he was a second base baseball player, just like Joey. And the family was all idiots with perfect noses.
They're really stuck on this nose thing. Like, imagine being Blossom and Anthony, like the actors, like, yeah, a whole episode about how we have ugly noses. Good stuff, Rio.
Right.
Can you skilly bop bop not?
Amazing.
They brought home Blossom, and she had no hair and big ears, just like who, Sal, 2 weeks in a row?
Ross Perot, another shot, man.
Suck it, Ross Perot.
Are we back in last week's episode? Are we doing this all over again?
They've moved on. Clan. They've moved on from the Grand Wizards, and now Ross Perot is getting it. Unless it's the same, unless it's connected. Was Ross Perot in the clan? I can't remember. Maybe. Was he?
No, he ran for president.
Oh, okay. Close.
Yeah, close enough. So Six is asleep in her room, and she wakes up because rocks are being thrown out the window. She opens the window, and one of the rocks hits her in the face. And it turns out it's Joey, and he's like, "I'm coming up," and she like starts fixing herself up, and she's like, "Oh, thank God."
I wrote, "Let's go," and the audience reacts like this is a big moment, because this is a big moment,
right? Yeah. So he says he needs to talk to someone about something, and Six thinks this is the big moment. And then he's talking about how he thinks he was switched at birth because no one in the family is as good looking as him. And Six goes, "No one in any family is as good looking as you, Joey." And the crowd loved it.
You missed the
this
first
is like
one, though.
Full on.
You missed the first one, though,
Oh, what I missed?
where he crawls into her bedroom at night, and she's like, "Joey, in my bedroom at night." She goes, "Pinch me." And Joey goes, "Why? Are you asleep?" And she goes sexily, "No, I'm really into the pinching thing." And I was like, Blossom writers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was...
Yeah.
that was pretty aggressive for a 1992 teenage girl joke. So that sounded really dirty for an episode of Blossom. And Joey's just kind of like moves, like Joey's so oblivious to the fact that she's hitting on him. It's funny. Like, he does that really well. That this is just like his little sister's friend, and he just, even though she's throwing herself at him this hard, it's just like not even on his wavelength, which is funny because that's
not even a thought in his mind.
And that's like the only girl other than Blossom in this whole universe like he doesn't think about sleeping with, and that's really funny as a dynamic. I like when these two have scenes like this, and this is probably the best one they've had. Jenna Von Oy is hilarious here. The way she's constantly just like doing these poses every time he turns around, and they kind of cut to her. She's like
sitting
in
on
a
the
different
chair,
almost sexy pose, but not quite pulling it off. This is a great scene.
Yeah. So Joey says he wants to get in contact with the other family. He knows their names and what city he lives in. But how will I ever find their phone number? So Six suggests that he calls 411. He calls her a genius and he kisses her on the cheek and leaves. And then she deadpans the camera and goes, "Whoa." And we get a
It
Corel
snap
draw.
zooms right into her face, and she goes,
Yeah.
"Whoa!" And the
Yeah.
audience comes unglued.
Yeah. And we get
And we
Corel draw on her face as it goes to commercial. Yeah. Well done.
this
That was
that
a
was
good
a
scene. I liked it a lot.
fantastic episode or fantastic scene between those two.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a
So
pizza math
Corel
joke.
draw. Yeah, it's Tony on the couch. He's talking about how he can't eat a whole pizza alone. And then Joey says something about like, well, just cut it into 4 slices instead of 8, dumbass. And then Tony walks away. Joey lays down on the couch, and we get a dream sequence.
Because like everyone else, he falls asleep in 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to expect, and I was not expecting this, and I loved it. It's Bizarro World. It's the other house
Right.
where
Right.
everyone is dumb and the other Joey's a nerd, and I really enjoyed the scene. I thought they had a lot of fun with this. Nick is white trash dad,
Yeah.
and he's smoking a cigar, and he's telling his nerd son that he's going to take him to the batting cage, and then to Jiggles, the mud wrestling place. And the
Yeah.
real Joey, who's staring, he's watching this, like peeping through the window. He's like,
Yeah,
the
it's like
perfect dad.
yeah, it's like a Christmas Carol thing. Like he's outside the window, like looking in at this.
And as if
Which is
that
kinda
isn't good
weird.
enough, we get Anthony coming in doing Joey. Like the
Yeah.
actor is being Joey Lawrence's character, Joey, and I'm getting a nosebleed, and I never want this scene to end.
Yeah,
And
his
he
hair
gives
is all
us a
spiked
whoa.
up. He does. There's a lot of them in this episode, but yeah,
Yeah.
we get one from Tony. Where are we here? Oh yeah, so he met a bodacious babe named Bambi while driving his ice cream truck that he's that's his job. She has a sister named Lambie, and he wants Joey to go with him on a double date tonight. And Joey's like not into it at all. He's like, nah, he's like, that's not for me. He's like, that's, I'm not into those kind of girls. And then he's like, what would our sister hear? Or what would our sister say if she heard you talking like that? And he's like, who, Peaches? And then Blossom comes down the stairs as like a blonde bimbo.
She's tramped out.
And yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny. She's like freaking out about how she broke one of her nails, like talking to Nick. And Nick's all like about her, being the way that she is here. And then she starts talking to Joey about guys' buns, and she does a whoa here. So we get another one in like the span of like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Bambi
the doorbell
and
rings,
Lambie
and it's Bambi
come in,
and
Sal. Bambi and
yeah,
Lambie.
yeah,
And these girls have no idea what's going on. The one I don't think realizes she's on like a TV set. She is looking everywhere and just looks high as a kite. Where did they get these two? It was like they took a wrong turn
Yeah, I
out of
wasn't-
Rio's office or something and ended up on stage. The lights are on,
Yeah.
but no one is home, especially for that one. The doorbell rings though, and it's Nerd 6. Why would 6 be a nerd in this universe? I didn't understand.
yeah, it makes no
that.
sense.
But I can appreciate that.
Joey said he's not interested in going on the double date because he's in love with the girl next door, and then it's a Nerd 6. And then he wakes up from his dream thinking that he's, not part of this family officially.
And at this point, I'm like, why is it called My Girl? I thought maybe Nerd Joey and Nerd 6 would go outside, and then Nerd Joey would get killed by bees, and at the funeral, she'd be like, where's his glasses? He doesn't have his
He
glasses.
can't see without his glasses.
I wish bees killed me last episode, Sal. I'm still mad about the documentary one. So bad. Yeah, Joey wakes up, knows he's the other Joey now. We have
Yeah.
an oddly nice memory suddenly. It's just like we're into like good memories now. Where
Yeah.
Nick remembers the time his ex-wife drove 7 hours to see him. And he brought the kids. And I was like, yeah, she probably was just like making sure you weren't cheating on her. Like that's why she showed up at this gig. was probably
Yeah.
the one that he was.
Are you at Arlie McCafferty's house again?
Yeah, or remember he was with that Reba McEntire,
Yeah.
the Wish version
Yeah.
of Reba McEntire, that they were like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we would have banged all day, but I was married, and I was like, yeah, like that really
Yeah.
stopped you, Nick.
Up in Malibu.
Yeah. And then so he starts playing My Girl,
Yeah.
and the whole family was dancing. Did I write that
that's
right?
like
I
one
don't
of
really,
his-
I don't remember that
Yeah,
part. That's his
I wasn't
memory?
really following. I wrote that in my notes. I wasn't really following. But yeah, that's like one of his best memories of the family was that they were playing My Girl, or My Girl came on the radio, and Joey was dancing with the mom, and they were all I don't know.
It made
And
me
then
sad
it
though.
cut
It made me
to
sad. I was like, this is a downer.
okay,
What happened to White Trash Family Fantasy? And then from there,
right?
Blossom's asking, what's everybody's worst memory? And they're cutting to Tony and Joey, and they're like, worst memories when Mom and Dad broke up. And it's so sad. And then I feel like they're going for like a special moment here or something. And then they go to Grandpa, who ruins it. And Buzz is like, worst moment of my life was when Nick married my daughter. Just cut the knees out of that serious momentum they had built up. I was like, I deserve that for
audience. There was a full audience break of laughter after he said that, though.
Yeah, for sure. I laughed too, but I was like, yeah, I deserve that for like easily going down like a serious moment on the show. I thought they were sucking me in and we were going to learn something about the family, but no, it was just to set up Buzz being Buzz. They got me.
Yeah. Yeah, so Blossom's then talking to the camera about how her mom abandoned the family, and she was talking about how she took her out to dinner to tell her that she was abandoning the family. And then Blossom's like, I can't eat lasagna anymore because that's what I got to eat while I like had that dinner with my mom, and it was
And I wrote, why is she dressed kind of goth? But now I want to change it to why is she kind of dressed like Shrieky from the Care Bears? And now I know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the writer putting the little spin on.
Shelley.
Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley. Yeah, Frankenstein. Yeah, so the final scene here is Blossom showing the video to the entire family on the couch. Nick talks about how depressing it is, and it's like, yeah, no kidding. Joey confesses that he thinks he was switched at birth, and then the entire family ignores him. Blossom gets up and walks away, then Tony gets up and walks away, and then he says that he has evidence, and then this is where Nick reveals to him that Joey Rossi was Chinese.
I laughed really hard at that.
Yeah. The father was Italian, the mother was Chinese, and the baby looked exactly like the mother. So there was no way that they could have been mixed up at birth.
And then he's like, I'll show you I'm your real dad. And then he piggybacks Joey up the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what that was.
I'm not sure that holds up in like any sort of Maury Povich paternity test episode, but I don't know. Can you only piggyback your own kid upstairs? I don't know. I guess I've never piggybacked anyone else's kids upstairs. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe they fall off.
I guess so.
I don't know. Okay. And then Goth Blossom keeps talking to the camera about how she's going to live on an island with Mel Gibson. And then out of nowhere, she's like, and we're going to be sex addicts and we're going to take off all our clothes and have sex all the time. And you're like,
yeah, it like took like a very hard turn here. And I know that Blossom's supposed to be Italian on the show, but I get the feeling that Mel Gibson wouldn't get along with her in real life. But yeah, this whole scene was very weird. She's just talking about her and Mel Gibson having lots of sex on this island, and then it'd be covered in magazines when they're rescued. The end. That's the end of the episode.
I didn't have a takeaway from this, but I can come up with one.
Okay.
Shout out.
I mean, give it a shot if you like.
In the credits, shout out to Robert Dick, the gaffer. If you needed a gaffer in 1992, Dick was the answer. Call up Dick. Robert Dick.
Bob Dick was the man.
Isn't what's Robert? Oh, it's Richard that's short for Dick. I was like, if he shortened his name, would it be Dick Dick? But no, it's Robert Dick. He was the best gaffer money could buy. And I feel like he was the
Yeah,
first
well-
person they hired when they put the Blossom show together. They're like, we need Gaffer Dick. It's not going to fly without Gaffer Dick. So shout out to the greatest gaffer that ever gaffed, Mr. Robert Dick. For the actual episode, I don't know what was their takeaway. When these scenes are done right, when they break out of the Russo universe, the Blossom universe, and have these fantasies, when it's done right, it's hilarious. When it's done wrong, like last week, it sinks the entire episode. So
Yeah.
tread softly going forward. And again, like last week, know your audience, know where they're going to go with you, and what your average viewer is into outside of your TV show. Because I don't think it was hardcore presidential election coverage. Thinking you're
agree.
switched at birth? Probably. I think everybody's thought that at one point, looking at their family. I know I
That
was
was funny,
today
man.
as I helped my parents move out of the house. There's no way I'm related to these folks. Send us to the pit, Sal.
All right, let's go to the pit. It's going to be a quick one this week. Lambie was played by Jennifer Van Buskirk. Maybe that's the one that you were pointing out of the two in this one. Blossom was her last credit. Bambi was played by Donna Spangler, and from seeing her picture on IMDb, I didn't really want to Google her, but I did anyways. She was part of Powerful Women of Wrestling.
Hey,
Promotion
really?
started by this. Yeah, promotion started by the same founder of Glow in the late 80s, and she was the coal miner's daughter.
Really?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's an interesting credit to your name. That's all I got for the pit. Both are in the pit this week, and that is it for my girl.
We didn't get any sort of My Girl other than when he sang that song.
Yeah, it really made no sense for an episode.
When did
title.
My Girl the
Maybe it
movie
was
come
just
out? It had
because-
to have been around this time too.
It was probably around this time. Yeah, I would say.
So they're just trying to get like cheap views. Like, oh, we'll call it My Girl.
Yeah, or they just paid so much for the rights for Nick to sing the song in the episode that they're like, we might as well call the episode the same thing too because we paid so much money for this.
They probably had the original script where like Macaulay Culkin was going to be the other Joey, and then he said no at the last minute because they only offered him $7. Because the rest of the money goes up Rio's nose.
Accurate. Accurate.
Phenom.
Before we do that,
Oh,
I thought the name Bambi sounded familiar in this show, so I looked into it, and I can confirm that in the episode Tough Love, there was also a character named Bambi, played by Jolie Fisher. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the
Oh.
same Bambi, or if they just reused the name.
Joey Fisher
No,
got
they-
fired.
Jolie.
Jolene?
Jolie Fisher. You know who she is if you saw her.
Okay.
She was she the undercover hooker in the one that Joey tried to pick up? She was like a cop that was pretending to be a hooker when like there was an episode where Tony worked at a donut shop.
I do remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was her.
Hmm.
I feel like the name Bambi
Is
comes up anytime.
Your 1992 catch-all for dumb girl.
Yeah, exactly. It's like anytime that you need like a dumb girl, like an airhead girl in an episode, she's always named Bambi.
And I'd probably shoot her mom.
All right, that's a good enough place to end.
All right. Next week, season 3, episode 12, The Frat Party.
Uh-oh.
All right, man. What kind of shenanigans are we going to get into then?
Oh, man. Someone's going to get their butt paddled during Hell Week.
Don't know